A Java bean is a software component. It's a component in the sense that you can create an application by combining a bunch of beans with code of your own, and maybe even write some Java beans of your own to create the complete application. Java beans are written to a specification that means that any program can use a bean and will know how to talk to it. Individual beans may function differently to the outside world, but inside your program, they all have this standard interface. A very important aspect of a bean is its introspection. This simply means that a program can ask a bean questions about itself, and the bean will answer the questions. A bean has properties. That is, every bean contains some named values, and a program can put property values inside the bean and retrieve them as necessary. This can be done by specifying the property by name, by passing that name to the bean. By setting the property values, you can customize a bean to do and be what you would like, or if no existing bean will do the things you need done, you can write a custom bean of your own and use it over and over again in your application. The original Java beans were designed to be components displayed in a graphical user interface. They could be added to the list of components available to be used inside an IDE system and could be dragged and dropped into place when designing the layout of the window. The standard internal interface to the bean was designed so new ones could be added to this IDE program without it having to be customized to handle it. You just added the bean to the IDE and the bean performed its introspection and the list of properties was presented to the user. The original Java beans still exist and are still in use, but the original bean concept was just too flexible to be limited to that single purpose. An enterprise Java bean, known as EJB, is an extension of that original concept. An enterprise Java bean is a component that's used internally to build multi-tiered applications. Now this one is not for display. This one expands on the original GUI component concept with a collection of object-oriented transactional beans that you can include inside your applications. An enterprise Java bean has all the internal interface flexibility and openness of a regular Java bean. An EJB is meant for the middle tier and for the server side and handles transactions and communications. There are three kinds of enterprise Java beans. A session bean comes into existence when the client starts a session, or a conversation if you prefer, with the server. The bean only exists as long as that session continues. As you know, an HTML connection is stateless. That is, every request from the browser comes in as if it were the first request made, and nothing is remembered after the request has been fulfilled. A session bean normally maintains a state, so things that happen in the session are remembered from one request to the next. Now, what actually happens varies a lot. You can have session beans that don't maintain the state. The general idea is that a session bean only exists as long as the conversation is being maintained. An entity bean holds the definition of an object, such as a customer, an invoice, a warehouse item, a schedule, or an order form. These are normally persistent beans. That is, the information that they contain does not vanish. If you create the bean again, the information it contained before is restored, and any information you put into it remains until you delete or replace that information. The message bean is very important to a multi-tiered architecture. This kind of bean has the ability to communicate from one tier to another. The J2EE platform provides the underlying communication mechanics, but your application does its communications through these beans. For example, you could have a dynamic inventory system that's continuously updating itself and sending out messages containing the update information. Well, you could have an EJB that receives all the update information. You could use it to find out the current status of things or just monitor the updates as they come in.